all the world seems to be abuzz now with the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, and how monumentous this is, and how Trump is a total traitor because he took the word of Russia over that of the intelligence agencies who certify, swearing on God, that the election was stolen by Russia, that Russia had interfered in the 2016 presidential election. To that I would respond, remember when all those agencies, or all the agencies at the time, knew that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction? And how that turned out? Now, I think it's very interesting to try to claim Donald Trump to be a traitor, and that was the hashtag that started trending on Twitter, hashtag Traitor Summit. Evidently, people have not been paying attention to exactly how loyal Trump has been to U.S. Capitol and carrying out its interests. He seems to be taking the bourgeois of the United States very, very seriously and giving them whatever they want. So I'm not really sure what they mean about treason. So let me ask you, do you think the U.S. government is your ally? Do you think the president who represents the interests of the capitalist class is your ally? If so, then I've got some bad news for you. It kind of really isn't. But it's amazing how they play the national card, the nationalist card. Mainly I'm referring to liberals in this case. When really this system isn't even for them to begin with. The system is pretty much designed to go against them. And that, by that I mean a class of people, not liberals themselves, the working class people. And then turn around and call Trump a traitor. It's interesting when it doesn't bow to the flag. Like, something that bows to the flag and just completely screws you over the whole time is perfectly acceptable, and that's patriotic. But if something screws you over that doesn't bow to the flag, it's just insane. The fact is, there's a section of the capitalist class that does want a war with Russia, and that would be probably the majority of it. Now, the reason is that Russia is now a competing global power, particularly in the spheres of the Middle East, where many deals are being signed with Arab countries for resource development, etc. And not to mention the embarrassment of having Russia step in on the conflict in Syria and destroy the US-backed rebel forces inside the country. So there's a very specific reason why the capitalist class would want to have hostilities against Russia, and why they would continue to push this false narrative that the election was somehow stolen by Russian operatives or Russian hackers or what have you. Which begs the question, if in this regard Trump is not being 100% loyal to the capitalist class by trying to promote peaceful relations with peaceful relations with Russia, what does that really say? Okay, you're allowed to completely screw us over, but as long as you do what's in the interests of the capitalist class, you're loyal. But if you completely screw us over, but don't 100% follow what the interests of the capitalist class want, you're a traitor? It's very interesting how a lot of people look at this whole situation. They look at the way that, looking at their relationship towards the bourgeois representative in the government, which is Donald Trump, and how they interpret his actions. Because I think it's funny to begin with that people really think that the U.S. is a democracy anyway. It's a bourgeois democracy. You get to vote every several years to who is your oppressor representative from the capitalist class. I mean, it's not a democracy at all. It's not a real democracy. So complaining about the system being a fraud is kind of like stating the obvious. But the complaint that somehow it wouldn't have been this way if he hadn't won, is completely fallacious. So to those screaming, Trump, you're a traitor, you have betrayed us, I think it might be a good idea to maybe stop and think about who it is you think he's allied to.